start our recording and welcome you to the fourth session of the Pathways Learning Group. I have sent an email to Mike this morning saying that we are now on our fourth session and that I feel that it's likely that most of you have got a really good foundation of some things to take into your club, and just asking for some direction from him about what we would like to see going forward, whether we want to keep up the same schedule for these webinars. As the weather gets warmer, it's a little bit harder to commit to 11 o'clock on a Sunday. And you know, the important thing is that you have the knowledge and the information to get people launched. And so I would like at the end of this session today to get a little bit of feedback from you about either what you feel you're missing, or whether you feel that you've got some solid information to take back to your clubs. So today I was thinking that it would be a really good idea for us to go into Basecamp and do a little bit more navigating around so that we can get a better feel for some of the little navigation tips and tricks as we go and into our own paths and complete projects and that kind of thing. So would that be helpful to everybody?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, and I just wondered if I could ask again, I may have asked this before, who here has finished a project or a path, or a level in a path? Who's actually gone in and finished a project, and who's gone in and finished a level?
I have.
Okay, Mary, you finished a level or a project?
Level 1, yeah.
You finished level 1? Okay. Yeah. And Marlene?
No.
No. James?
I've done the icebreaker, that's it.
Okay, well, that's a project.
Okay, so I've done that, and I'm doing a speech on Tuesday.
Perfect. Okay, so have you actually gone into your Basecamp and shown your icebreaker as complete?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, and how about you, James?
I'm going to be doing my icebreaker at some point in the very near future. And I think the best thing that I can do is kind of, as I go through this experience, that's what I can really share with the club. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like, it's very, you can't really stand on the sidelines and root everybody on.
No, you got to know how to play the game.
You have to be into it and go through the same things that other people are going through. There's a few members of our club that are pursuing the pathways, that are doing it. But again, with our club, you know, we have quite a bit of old-time members and members that are there for the social aspect of it. But we're trying to marry them into the idea that if you're going to do a speech, might as well, you know, do it in that system. So you're actually going to, we can actually say we're actually doing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I do get still a lot of frustration from the executive regarding just what's been happening just with pathways and that, and you can't deal with the frustration head on. You just can't, because you're never going to you know, people just have to kind of get over the fact that they're frustrated by certain things. I know that one of our executives was saying how, like, I just did a speech on the old system because I'm so close to getting my bronze. I've been dragging my butt for years on it. So basically, I did a after dinner speech from the entertaining speaker manual. And one of the executives said, you know, that is something that we just don't have when you go into it at the first level. There seems to be in the old system, there was a focus on vocal variety. There were projects specific to certain things, and all that. Her opinion was that it's changed. And also these advanced speaker manuals, she thought those were valuable, but now you know, you don't see them at the lower levels. Mm-hmm. So, and I couldn't explain that to her because I wasn't totally knowledgeable as to what there is at the higher levels. You know, I just said that, well, perhaps that stuff all pops up later on. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a different system, and some people like the approach of the old system.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that's a valid and strong voice. It is different. It's completely different. Mm-hmm. However, I feel that as we start to get a little bit more used to nature of the projects will understand that there is that same focus on fundamentals. It's just not, it's not,
Oh, sorry, hold on. That was a crazy. Go on.
oh my God, we've been abducted by
That was Garfield. The alien beings phone answering machine.
Moving right along. The fundamentals are still there. The fundamentals are still in existence, and there is the same focus on the fundamentals, but it's not broken down piece by piece the way it is in the advanced manual. So I totally understand where people are coming from when they say that they like the older system better, and they like that somebody's working through an advanced manual and it's all about one certain kind of speech. So yeah, I think it's important that we just remain flexible, because we're still all learning now, and we're still all in kindergarten, and we're having to learn to pat our head and rub our stomach at the same time. And so it is all different. I'm not saying that everything about Pathways is better. I'm not saying that. And however, I think that as a member of the Toastmasters organization, it behooves us to keep as open a mind as we possibly can and remain positive. Hi, Sarah. Now we can see you.
Hi.
Yay.
Yes. Yeah. Figured it out finally.
Can I just add something there?
You can.
Like, we can see what all the projects are by going to the evaluation forms, and and it gives us an idea of what every single project is. And a lot of the projects that are in the advanced manuals in the old program are there.
Yes, they are.
But we can't access them until we get up to those levels.
That's right. And I think an important piece of information in that regard to let people know is that the way Pathways is structured, the very first project, which is the icebreaker in level 1, we have to move through everything that's involved in that project before we can see the path ahead, before we can actually go and see what all the projects are, unless we do something like go to that Division 4 website that I talked about and have that roadmap where we can see what all our projects are. The purpose of that is to make sure that everybody understands the navigation before they move on. But yeah, as soon as you finish that first project in level 1, you can flip through and get a pretty good idea of what's coming down the road. And as you say, Mary, you can look at the evaluation forms. What I wish is that we could flip through our entire path, that we could look at all the levels, see all of the electives, and get a feel for where we would like to go, even if Pathways didn't allow us to jump around as it does in Legacy. We have to work through it in a more methodical, almost chronological kind of way. At least we could see, oh, I've got this speech coming up way down the road. I'll start thinking about that now. And so, I see that as a limitation of Pathways, but I don't think it's such a major limitation that it's going to stop me in my tracks. That's for sure.
In the old Legacy system, I remember people would tell me, oh, you can, when you do the advanced manuals, you can do them, you don't have to do them in order. But they're actually structured in an order. There actually is an order to them. Each project takes from the previous one, and there is a rhyme and reason to it.
Yes. Just like the CC.
Yeah.
There's actually a rhyme or reason to it. And I have to say, I was one that jumped around in my CC. I did all kinds of different things in my CC, and I didn't do them in order. Not my first one.
I did my CC in order because I was told to do it in order, and that they were structured, and they did mean something, and they say it at every project. They re-emphasize.
And I think Pathways is even more focused on that, in that every different level in the 5 levels of each path is building on something that is learned from the previous level. So you really can't jump around from level 1 to level 4. You've got to work through them.
Yeah.
In
It has
you know,
has the CL manual, has so there was different reasons why the CL manual existed in the legacy system. Has that been merged or worked into the new system? Because I remember that in the old legacy system, that was what we had to struggle with, encouraging more members to actually, make sure when you're timing that you fill out that thing there, and then you get your CL. And so not all of our members ever got this. I'm surprised to say that got the CL. I got my CL, and it took a bit of work to get it.
that's a really good point. The CL is no longer in Pathways. Many of the roles are involved in Pathways for sure, certainly the major roles, but the roles at the club level and getting involved in contests and those kinds of things, those are incorporated into projects, elective projects within Pathways. So you don't have a single manual or a single award for leadership. All of the projects in all of the paths incorporate some aspects of leadership. So where does that leave the meeting roles? It leaves them out in the cold, actually. And so I think that it behooves each club to do something so that by 2020, if you want to be showing congratulations or giving awards for some of filling all the meeting roles and performing those kinds of leadership tasks, including some that are, I think, obviously missing from the CL. The CL is not perfect. There are a lot of meeting roles and things that are in the CL. And so I think that my thought is, anyway, in my own clubs, is that we're going to incorporate our own system where we track the roles.
What a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we've done. I haven't had a chance to send you our template, but we've basically created a parallel system that gets people to get into the pathways and all that. It does the first level, but it's framed in a different way just for our club. And you get a at the end of it, it's almost like a 10 speech thing. You get a confident communicator status within the club. So that's a way of getting you through.
Communicator, or
a confident communicator, as opposed to the old name for it. Yeah, we actually use that term. Confident leader? No, just confident. I'm pretty sure it's confident communicator. Confident.
Okay.
We got that word confident because you, by that time, you should have built the confidence in it. But it runs parallel. It achieves everything you'd have to achieve when you're doing your level 1 on Pathfinders, but it's just another form that we keep it's an internal thing for our own club.
Okay, and so is it around meeting roles and that kind of thing?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. It takes that into thing, like when you're a timer and when you're this and that. So it takes into account things that are missing in the Pathfinders thing.
Okay. So what I would say is that I love that. I love that idea, and I think there are many ideas out there for tracking and achieving having filled the roles. I'm working on a system that's almost like a bingo card.
Yeah, the thing that I'm explaining to you is actually meant to benefit new members joining. Because a lot of times in the old days, people thought, okay, I can get my CC, I can do my 10 speeches. And sometimes, you'd have people do their 10 speeches and then they're happy and they left the club.
Yeah, and that's fine. But I think that any internal system that tracks roles, including some of the roles that might be unique to your club, including things like even just being a judge at a speech contest rather than being the chair, or helping in any sort of a club event. Some clubs have quiz masters and greeters and various things that I think all, particularly new members, as you say, James, I think it's a really good idea to do something to replace the CL. And I know that there have been appeals to Toastmasters International to have some sort of something or other to replace the CL, because I think that the motivation to take on those roles, and it's fun to track those roles and give awards when people have filled those roles, it's all important. It's all important for the health of a club. So any ideas that any of you can come up with to replace that CL, because the CL is only going to be in existence for 1 more year. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's carry right along, and I'm going to share my screen now. And I have logged into Toastmasters International. So you will see up at the top here, welcome, Kristen. Okay, so I'm going to access pathways. As we talked about before, there are 3 different ways. Do you remember what they are?
By clicking on welcome Kirsten, by going through the pathways button, and then there's 2 ways within the next page.
That's right. That's exactly right. So if I just say go to Basecamp here through the pathways tab, that takes me to this screen. And I think that this is a really good thing to share with members, new members who are they don't necessarily need to go the other route, because they won't necessarily have all the history and awards and everything that is kind of cool to look through. And here, the Choose Your Path quiz is a really great tool for brand new members. Let them know that they're not obligated to stick to the results. So the results will give new members 2 or 3 options about which path that they might suit them according to their needs and how they want to tailor their education program. The Navigator is a very useful tool. Every club has got the Navigator on a flash drive, because your Pathways Guide would have given that to you. Plus, I believe every club in their initial kits also received a printed version of the Navigator. So you might want to dig that out and have it available for any member at a club meeting to flip through if they're looking for something specific. However, the Navigator online gives you all kinds of videos and tutorials and information about navigating through pathways. It's really useful. It's really a useful little tool. Okay, so for those of you who are multiple members, here is where you would choose the club that you want to log in. And as I cautioned you before, it's important, particularly when you're on the verge of asking for a submission or a completion of an award, to make sure that you're logged in as the club member for the club that you want to receive credit for that award, because your Basecamp manager is not going to be able to see you unless you're logged in as a club member of that particular club.
I have a question.
You bet.
I've traveled to different clubs around the world, and I've run their meetings and done table topics and evaluations and that, but I've yet to, I really always wanted to, and now people invite me to actually do a speech. What if I'm at a club in Europe? I'm not a member of the club, I'm a guest, and it's Toastmasters International. I want to do a speech in the club and get credit for it.
That's no
How
problem.
will that work?
That's no problem.
Okay.
That's no problem getting credit for it, because you'll receive an evaluation from a member of that club, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you will log into your own Basecamp, and you will mark that project as completed. You'll upload the evaluation if you want to. What I'm saying is that when awards are submitted now to Toastmasters International, it's a 2-step process. Just as we used to give our VP Ed our manuals or a list of our speeches that were completed and signed off on, and then they would submit to Toastmasters International, correct? Okay,
Yeah.
everybody's familiar with that process. Now what we do is we go into our own Basecamp. We show a project as completed, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. We show a project as completed, and a message goes to our VP Ed that says, member James Falcon has completed a project. Please submit to Toastmasters International.
That's
And
only a level, Kristen, that happens.
yes, you're right. It's a level.
Mhm.
Sorry, I meant to say level.
Okay.
When you've completed a level, you will submit to your VP Ed, who then takes that information, and they still have to go into Toastmasters International, into Club Central, and submit it. You're absolutely right, Marlene. It's like finishing a manual,
Right.
or a bronze or a silver or whatever, finishing a CC or a CL. It still has to be submitted to Toastmasters International. So sorry if I confused you there. And yeah, that was my mistake. Sorry.
James, it's really important that you bring your own proper evaluation forms with you when you go to another meeting in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. Yeah.
Or print them where you are.
Yeah, or as a PDF. But you think I should actually have a printed form would be a good idea.
You can't fill in. They can't fill in the PDF.
That's true, unless I email them. Unless I send it to a member that I know beforehand. Some of the clubs know me, so that's the other thing. I could say, could you please print this out for me before I get there, if I'm somehow unable to do it myself.
You could. I think it's always better to have them with you and have them printed. And Marlene's right. You know, as we talked about, it is a fillable PDF, but depending on the software that the filler is using, it may or may not be able to be transmitted or saved or printed with the, you know, as completed. Okay.
Cool. Good to know.
Okay, so let's go into Basecamp. And I want to show you a really important trick in Basecamp. We talked about last time, we said that there's a lot of trouble getting around in Basecamp, and you sort of go down a rabbit hole and then you can't get back. And this is really important. This logo always takes you home.
Wow.
This logo always takes you home. So wherever you are, you can get back home.
Home being Basecamp?
When you're in Basecamp, whichever rabbit hole you go down, you can get back to the home screen by clicking on this logo. And another little important thing to let people know, because this is a stumbling block for some. I click on tutorials and resources and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Okay? Nothing happens.
Is that because we are on that page already?
No. No, it's not at all. It's the design of pathways.
You got to actually click the thing below it, right?
You got to click the thing below it.
Yeah.
You got to hover your mouse. You got to hover your mouse and click on what drops down in the menu. And this is designed because it's just like having a WordPress theme for a website. You can add multiple things on it. So rather than click on the tab, there's the provision for having more than just tutorials and resources in here. There's a provision for having a whole drop-down menu.
And in this case, there isn't.
In this case, there's only one thing. And so that's really important to let everybody know that these are drop-down menus. These are just tabs. So you've got to go down to the menu and click on the actual menu item to get there. But one thing I would like to show you in here, oh, great. There we are. Okay, so we've got all kinds of tutorials here on everything you could possibly imagine. Then we've got evaluation resources. And evaluation resources is the Pathways language for evaluation forms. Okay, so important to know that. Now, you can click on there and we're going to go English. And every single evaluation form for every single project in every single path is here. It's all here. If I want to see it by list, well, that's a tile view. There's a list view. There's one caveat. You have to know the name of the project because they're alphabetical.
Mm.
So if you're looking for mentoring, the mentoring evaluation resource, you've got to know that it's the advanced mentoring evaluation resource you're looking for. You've got to know the exact name of the elective project or the required project that you are working on in order to be able to find your evaluation resource, unless you want to look through all of them, and there are so many. There's 70, I think, to look through. So that's an important thing to know.
There's no
Okay.
search window, is there? That you can just...
No. Not that I've been able to find. I've used this search window to look for people, but it's just as the Toastmasters International site search engine, excuse me for saying this, sucks. So does Pathways. You can be looking for a competent communicator pin in the Toastmasters International store and put in competent communicator pin, and it will say no search results.
Yeah.
It's definitely not Google.
No,
Probably a better
it's
chance finding it with Google.
No, it's not Google. So this is a great thing to know, that this tutorials and resources will give you your evaluation forms for anything, as long as you know the name of it. Okay? And then again, with the tutorials, there are all kinds of tutorials in here. You can find out how to do just about anything within Pathways by going there. So it's really a good one to use. So you can see, again, unfortunately, they are alphabetical, but it would be a good idea just to go in and play in there and browse. They're short tutorials. They're no more than 3 to 5 minutes, and most of them are done really, really well. So that's a really good thing to know.
Do they get you through some of those hurdles? Like just what you were just showing us now with the mouse?
Yep. Yeah, they absolutely do. They do for sure.
Something
Yes.
So something I've noticed playing around on the website here is if you, from Basecamp, if you go to speech evaluations, the little blue thing on the Basecamp homepage, that gets you to the same page as the evaluation resources under tutorials.
Yes. Yes.
And that way I'm noticing it has all of them, it looks like, on one page. It just looks more manageable to my eyes.
Okay, so take me there. Take me where you're going.
So from
okay,
there,
so did you see what I just did? I just clicked on the
that's
logo and it took me back to my home page. Okay, so where are you asking me to go? Here?
Yeah, that one. And if you click there and scroll down a little bit, so
there we are.
Those are all, when I click on, say, Icebreaker, it takes me to the same page as when I go through the tutorials and then scroll through all the evaluations.
That's great.
And click on the Icebreaker. And this page, the page that you're showing right now, that's just, it's a cleaner look for me.
Yep. Okay.
And it also filters out all the different, like it's only got the English ones, whereas the other page I think had a bunch of all the evaluations for the other languages, which you can filter out, but it's
you can filter them out. Yeah,
but it's,
filter them right out.
It's an unnecessary step. It's like I'm always going to go for the English one. So
yeah. Well, that's great. That's excellent. Thank you for that. I didn't even realize that you could access that. That actually brings me to a really good point, is that within Basecamp, You can, obviously, you can access your evaluations here. You can access them by going into your transcript. You can access them here, but you can also get to your transcript and to the things that you are working on here. So that's one of the things that's confusing a lot of people, is that there's often 3 ways to get somewhere. So I think just, Sarah, that was really valuable, because that may be the easiest way, the cleanest way for people to get their speech evaluations, by just going here, by just using the blue tile. Okay. Something that I'd like to mention very quickly is the Toastmasters, or the Pathways Mentor Program. Is anybody familiar with that?
Not through Pathways.
Okay, so Pathways has created a mentor program that is fairly comprehensive and extensive. Level 1 has an introduction to mentoring in it, but there's actually a Pathways mentor program where you have to be mentoring for 6 months and do some speeches around it and jump through a few hoops in order to be able to achieve that award. It's actually an award. You are called a Pathways, I think, accredited mentor. And it's really, really worthwhile. You do have to have completed level 2. And as soon as you've completed level 2, you can initiate the Pathways Mentor Program. It will show up here.
Where's here? Where are you?
Can you see my mouse?
Suggested
I can see it now.
education.
Yeah. Suggested education, it will say Pathways Mentor Program. And as soon as you launch it, it will be down in your curriculum here.
So
I'm
you need at
on
least you need at least 2 levels to be able to become a Pathways mentor. But then once you get it, I assume you're qualified then to help people going into level 1 and 2, but not above that.
No, you're qualified to help people with their speeches, just the way you would be. You're not specifically mentoring them in Pathways. You're mentoring them in their Toastmaster experience.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just as now, we don't necessarily choose our newest Toastmasters to be mentors.
Yeah.
And so we want people to have at least done those speeches. Level 1 and 2 is pretty much the equivalent of having done a CC and a CL generally. And so those are the people that would choose to go into the mentoring program. If I had my way, we would all, as experienced Toastmasters, be earning our Pathways Mentor badge. So, but you have to be mentoring for 6 months and demonstrate what you're mentoring and all those kinds of things. And there's lots of tutorials about mentoring, and it's really a good comprehensive program, and it's going to be spitting out way better mentors than we, just because somebody's finished their CC, we figure that they're a good mentor, and they aren't.
Now,
So
when you
this
say
is-
6, sorry, go on, Marlene.
This is separate to the Pathways. Like, it's not a path in itself. It's another separate project.
That's correct. It's a
just-
standalone project.
Now, when you say it takes 6 months, that means that's the earliest that you could probably get through. But what if you're doing it at your own pace? You know what I mean? You're going to become a mentor. You're doing the progress, but you're just doing it at your own pace. So it might be longer than 6 months, but the earliest you could probably complete it is 6 months.
Yes, you have to have been mentoring someone for at least 6 months. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So as soon as you finish level 2, you will see under suggested education, Pathways Mentor Program. Here it is. And I would absolutely encourage all of you as experienced Toastmasters to do that. Okay. All right. Now, where else do you feel that you might be getting stuck? Is it right in your education transcripts? Would you like sort of a little walk through all of that?
Sure, might as well carry on.
Okay. Let's just open my own here. Okay, so there's some numbers here that can be confusing to people. This one here tells me how far I have come in my entire curriculum, which is all 5 levels. Okay, so we look at 85%. This number here tells me how far I've come in just level 5. It tells me what I've completed, what I have to complete in order to do level 5. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. Again, my elective projects, I've finished 100% of my elective projects. I've still got one that I haven't even looked at yet. It doesn't even launch until I have finished this project in level 5. And again, when we don't see something here, it means that we have to complete something ahead of time before even the launch button is going to come up. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, yes.
Sorry, where are you? Are you in the transcript, education transcript?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't have that little circle thing that says 85%, where yours says 85%. I mean, obviously I'm doing level 1, but mine doesn't look like that.
Where are you in your education transcript? Like where, how far along are you?
I'm just doing the level 1.
And how far along in level 1 are you?
In Basecamp, I think I've completed Icebreaker and also completed evaluation and feedback, but I haven't put in all the information I need to put in.
Okay.
In Basecamp, if that makes sense.
Okay, if you haven't put all the information in, this can't tell you how far along you are. I'm not sure why it's not showing up at all. If you've completed your Icebreaker and you've put everything in, you've shown it as complete, it should at least have a low percentage in here.
Yeah, and I don't know why I'm not seeing that. Mine just kind of looks like yeah, mine just has complete a level overview and then my evaluation, and then it's got the name of my persuasive influence, but I don't have that little separate panel that you have on the left there.
Okay, well, I'd be interested in seeing as you move through and finish your level 1, if that's when it appears.
No, mine shows up, and I've just done my Icebreaker.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
I can't explain that, Sarah.
Can you do a print screen, Sarah, and send it to Kirsten?
Yeah.
Kristen, so that she can see what you're looking at?
You know how you said that after you do the Icebreaker, you have to complete the second part of the survey or whatever? You know, there's maybe then it will show up. Do you think that's the reason why she doesn't see it?
Does she have a tick for Icebreaker?
Yeah, so let's go into level 1 here. If you have completed your Icebreaker and you have completed the quiz, Assess My Skills before and Assess My Skills after, your Icebreaker should have a tick. Does it have a tick?
Okay, hold on. I don't think I'm in the right section of the thing, because let me see if I can
So what you want to do is go back, click on the logo and go back home, and try going to Education Transcript, Access My Path.
Education Transcript.
Click on the blue tile that says Education Transcript, Access My Path.
Right, yeah, I'm there.
Okay, now, do you see your path listed?
Yeah.
Click on Open Curriculum. Is there a burgundy button that says Open Curriculum?
Yeah, there is. Just
Okay, so click on that.
Oh, okay. Well,
And
great.
then your
There it
path is listed with its levels. Okay, now
okay.
you're in the right
Yep,
place? Awesome.
yes, I've never even seen this thing before, and when I just click on the name of my path, it takes me somewhere completely different, and
Okay.
this is why I have
Okay.
separate.
I want to get out of here and just show you one more thing, because I don't want to keep anybody long today. I just want to show you one more really cool thing about Pathways, and that is my badges. Has anybody been in here?
I haven't been there in a while.
Okay. So what this enables you to do is give other members feedback. So you can click on the feedback tab here, and you can ask for feedback from a speech that you gave, or you can give feedback to other members. And the way to give feedback and award badges to other members is to search for them here. So I'm just going to search for one of my members. You just plug in their name and they should come up. And I'm sure.
Is this all private? Is this all private within your environment?
Yes, it is. And I was just going to say, I'm sure Matt wouldn't mind if he pulled up his, if I pulled
Except
up
for Matt.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so now I know him in Matt because his name appears here and here, and I can give Matt feedback. So I can actually make a comment to Matt about feedback that about a speech that he just gave, and I might want to give Matt a badge. So I'm actually going to go ahead and give Matt feedback.
People can accumulate these badges. You can just hand them out to everybody.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, and I would like to give Matt a badge for being inspirational.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So this is not like a credential like CC
no,
or CL.
it's just a pat on the back.
Oh, it's almost
That's
like
all it is a pat on the back.
And that says feedback's visual to everyone. You've shared it with everyone in your club, I gather.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Now,
that's the part you got to watch out.
Well, I don't have to share it with everyone.
Yeah.
I could have shared it with just Matt.
But you have to be careful about that. So when you make sure, by default, it might be open to everyone to see.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I would encourage you to give feedback that would be open to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is more or less public domain. As a member of your club within your Basecamp profile, it is public. So just like Facebook, you're in a fishbowl for, more or less.
And these badges are not, for example, say you give them feedback, but it's a proactive or positive critique about something. You wouldn't necessarily see what I mean. The badges, you're not necessarily going to be doing a critique with the badge, or you could maybe a need for improvement badge.
So you can see what the badges are: collaborative, courageous, exceptional, innovative, and inspirational. Those are your choices.
Cool.
But it's just a nice little way to.
It adds color.
It does, and it's just a nice little way to encourage and congratulate somebody. And then the badges actually accumulate in your e-portfolio. So your e-portfolio is where you would accumulate badges that people have given you. Okay, so here are 3 inspirational badges that I've received.
Interesting thing about the badges is that it can create a trend. There might be certain members that are always having exceptional badges given to them, or inspirational.
Yeah, that's right. Now your e-portfolio is also where you upload documents. If you want to store your documents, with your feedback documents, you can. I haven't been very diligent about doing that because I prefer to store mine on my computer on my hard drive. But you could, if you wanted, use this as your filing cabinet and store documents.
Evaluations.
Or yeah, store, well, you can store any document you want, your certificates, everything, if you really wanted to.
It's probably a good place to back things. It's a good backup, especially if you're traveling.
Yeah, it's very contained. The thing is that if you ever did leave Toastmasters, I want to be sure that I've always got my evaluation forms and that kind of thing. So I have my own filing system, and I always have. And so generally, that's what I do. Now, if we go to Basecamp profile, I want to look at my own profile here. You can see that there is a place for you within Basecamp to put in your information, etc. There's also a place here within Basecamp for you to document and record the meeting roles that you have filled. And this is where you would want to go in and put these meeting roles in as you do them, particularly when you're finishing level 3, because you want to be able to prove that you did those 4 roles that are required: evaluator, general evaluator, table topics master, and Toastmaster. So this is where you would go in and put that information in. Okay? What else? I think that's probably about enough. I think that one thing to note is that when you check out or you log out of Toastmasters Pathways, you can use this little gear button to log out of Pathways, but you're still logged into Toastmasters International. So you still have to log out of Toastmasters International here if you want to completely log out. Does anybody have questions before we finish? And if you don't mind, we'll finish a little bit early today. Anybody have questions or comments about that quickie little tour?
I found it very valuable.
It was great, Kristen.
What did you learn, Mary and James, that you didn't know before?
Well, I like. Oh, okay.
Go on.
I especially like the idea of creating a program within the club to encourage people to fill the roles, because that has been a big complaint. And the fact that clicking on the Pathways logo brings you back to the homepage. I didn't know that, so that's a good thing to pass on.
Yeah, for sure. James?
I think the mentoring thing is going to be really. We talked about this last time, how the first generation of people in this Pathways thing, it'll be, once they've gotten through that very beginning of it, that they're going to be key to actually helping new people and all that get through this. But this mentoring thing is really important. So as soon as I get through the first 2 levels and pursue the mentoring thing, I'll be even more effective. And I think that we should really, that's, again, you'd be pushing, it would be just like in the old legacy system where you have club mentors. You really got to push that. Older veteran members become a mentor, and go through that program.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we didn't really have an apprenticeship for becoming a mentor. It was just based on, after a CC and a CL, you could be a mentor, but we didn't have a structured system for mentoring. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And this is a really good one. There's a lot of really good information in the videos and the tutorials about mentoring that I think has been a little bit missing from Toastmasters in the past.
Yeah, they're in the CL manual. I remember there actually is a section on mentoring a member, and then they write an evaluation of you, the person that you're mentoring. That was in there, but it's not a big thing. It should be.
Yeah. Excuse me, I've got my puppy here. Say hi. Do you want to say hi?
Oh, is that a dachshund?
Yes.
Okay, well, I have 2, and I'm surprised one of mine hasn't come, because every time I get on Skype or FaceTime, She
Oh.
comes to say hello.
I'd love to see them. Are they black and tan or are they brown?
No, mine are smooth reds.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. Well, Lily is just a year old and she is absolutely my joy. This is the
Oh.
4th dachshund I've had in my life.
Oh wow.
Okay, how about you, Sarah? Did you learn anything that you didn't know before?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely, I did. And yeah, that's helpful. But again, it would be nice. I think I'm going to go poke around at the tutorials and resources section a little bit more.
Good.
I don't necessarily learn from videos very well. I just I find them inefficient. So I'd prefer it if they're written down somewhere so I can just. But yeah, I'm gonna go look at those because that seems. Didn't realize that.
Try going into the navigator as well because a lot of the information is written down in there. It's not all video.
The navigator, okay.
Yeah, click on the logo and go into Pathways, and then go here, launch the navigator. Okay.
It's a tactile experience.
It is, and I'm learning things new. I learned from Sarah today that there was a different way to access the evaluation forms, a third way. So
yeah, I was just going to say, if you do little educationals and different aspects of this Pathways thing and club, you've got to remember to have humor. You've got to, don't forget the humor, because I know that when I was away from the club for a few months, someone was telling me, oh my God, we're getting so sick and tired of these educationals, because sometimes that's like the default thing with some of the experienced members that are trying to do the Pathways thing, and they say, okay, let's talk about how great Toastmasters is. And it's like, you can only, you need to have fun. You need to really mix it up. So try to find a way to, do an education, but do it differently.
Yes. I think that point is so well made, actually, James. I think that learning that all of the different navigation tips and the big change that Pathways is, if we don't do it with humor, we're lost. So I think we acknowledge the frustration and we go in as learners, not experts. And, we're all in this together, and we want to be able to get out of it what we put into it. So I think that point is so well said.
And people will remember too, like one way you can juggle people's memories when you're trying to make a point, like for example, if you want to get back to the home thing, top left, click it. You could say, well, this was the humor component of the design of the website. And so, and you gotta shake people's minds, and then they will remember to do that.
That's really a good point. Marlene, how about you? Do you have any last words?
Yeah, it was good to see when you went back into level 1 that each component still just says launch. It doesn't actually say complete, because I kept thinking I must have missed something in my icebreaker component. I kept launching it and going back in and going through the assessment all over again, and it still just says launch. So
okay,
it was good to know that it doesn't ever change from launch. That doesn't.
No, it still does say launch. Yeah, it still does. And one thing I just want to add to that, if you think about that place where it says launch, that burgundy button that says launch, when you have just completed a level, it will say
a project.
No, when let me think now.
Are you going to say evaluate?
Yeah.
It's after each project. You have 10 days.
Okay, so when you've completed a project, that button, that burgundy button, switches to say evaluate, which is so confusing because it will say that for 10 days, and it's meant to ask you to give feedback to Toastmasters International on that project.
Oh,
yeah, I just realized
that is confusing.
It's not meant to be your evaluation form or anything else. It's asking you to give feedback to Toastmasters International. So it'll only say evaluate for 10 days, and then it'll go back to launch. So just be aware of that.
Interesting. Wow. Too
Yeah,
bad they
found
didn't
that out
just
the
say.
hard way.
Too bad they didn't just say feedback to TI or something.
Exactly. Exactly. That would have been too simple. Anyway, that's where some people start to get confused. Like, what do you mean? I finished this? What?
But when you click on it, then does it become clear that TI when it takes you to the next window?
Yes, but you know, James, the truth is that a lot of people are, I'm going to call them click shy. They, you know, I'll click on anything and see where it takes me.
But
I don't.
if it's a rabbit hole where you can't click back or back page or something, then people don't want to go there. And
That's right.
if you get lost 3 times in a row going down different rabbit holes and you don't know to click the top left to get back, you know, on the thing, then you don't want to do it.
That's exactly right. And so some people will want to understand it before they click on it. And that's probably a good thing. I'm probably foolhardy, but I do tend to just click.
Oh, God.
Okay, so I think that we've found a few hurdles and hopefully overcome them today and got a little bit better sense of the fact that, you know, I think, Marlene, your idea of a map is so good, but I have a feeling it would look like one of those family circle cartoons with the kids going all over the neighborhood. Because there are multiple ways to get anywhere within pathways.
Yeah. No,
And
I get that.
Yeah.
It would have to be a layered map.
Yes, it would. It would be like a map of the
You get a
body.
hybrid.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, I'm going to let you go because it's a beautiful day out there. And so go and enjoy your Sunday. Yeah. Go and enjoy that sunshine. Get some of that vitamin D.
Yeah, take care of you guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Okay, thanks,
Bye.
Kristen. Bye.
Bye.